to the news. Nancy had made a copy of the prophecies that I gave at New Year's that's in the back there. If you would like to take one of those home with you, you can make you a little tablet. And as you see God's hand unfold what's getting ready to happen, you'll be way ahead of it. Because there's some serious stuff coming. But God's people, knowing whom they serve, they don't have to worry about it. And God knows, and you should know by now, that I've been teaching you how to use faith and have faith, because without faith it's impossible to please God. And we need more of Him, and we need to draw closer to Him each day because of what you see in the news. Is we do things because we're told to do things. And if you read the Revelations about the mark of the beast, how many saw on the news last week where they are now putting a microchip here? Right in between your thumb and here. How many saw this? 5, 6, 7? Me's 8. Have you seen it? And it's coming. That's right. And if I ask you if they gave you a microchip and if that was the mark of the beast, would you take it? And probably 95% of you'd say, no way would I take that. And the reason you would say that is simply because I'm going to put my leg up here whether you like it or not. They're complaining about this doesn't look good for TV. I don't give a flip. Sheesh. Oh, I thought you said something. It's relaxing. I feel good with my leg right here. But it says in Revelations, who's able to make war with the beast? Does anybody know who the beast is? Who? The government. Are you sure? You better know who this is. Who is able to make war with this beast? Now, they're going to have, and it's coming, and it's really close, where you're going to be forced to take this whether you want to or not. You say, well, I'm not going to take that. They're already fighting in Congress right now about the measles. Okay? And there's some pros and cons on that. Because you have to take the measles shot so it doesn't spread, and it can be very painful and very, very horrifying. They can make you do what you say you're not going to do. Now, I gave some prophecies, and I would advise you, not because of who I am, because I'm nobody, but I do know God's voice, and I know what's coming, and I feel it, and I sense it, and there's other stuff that's coming that I have not told you. But in here, it talks about, this is me now. This is in New Year's when some of you couldn't get here. And you know why we didn't have church last week? Because I had three people call me and told me they wasn't coming. So I said, if you ain't coming, I'm going to stay home. What I said. And tell me if you have seen this. Let's see, what's the date today? The 7th? 8th of February. So that's 31 days in January plus 8. That's 39, going 40 days. We'll call it 40 days. Tell me if any of this stuff has appeared on the news or you've heard about it. And here's what I said. There's going to be more intensifying earthquakes, increase in earth movement. Anybody hear anything about that? 1,400 and how many, Nancy? 1,455 earthquakes. And there was 2 bad ones. And I've been telling you every week, or at least most of the time, how many earthquakes was reported on a large scale. And most of the time, we only hear of maybe 2 or 3 if we're lucky. That's in a week. There was 80-some thousand earthquakes last year. If you go into Revelations and Thessalonians, you will find that there's going to be an earthquake that's coming, and there's not going to be one like it ever after that. And everything that is standing is going to crumble. You can't imagine that. We can't fantasize that in our minds to to realize that there's going to be something shake this earth so bad that every building is going to crumble. And you might be sitting at a football game, but let me tell you something, you won't have nowhere to run because there's going to be about 80,000 people trying to get out of there too. Hello? Volcanoes will move and be active. 2 will make headlines. I just saw on the news this past week, they showed a volcano, and it had a stream of that red stuff going down. It looked like it was a mile long. And it said it has not been active, but all of a sudden it started getting active. I heard on the news this morning that they found ash from a volcano, and they don't even know where it came from. And it was all over cars. And it's getting worse, but yet they're sitting here saying earth warming. If the earth is getting warming, it's because hell itself is heating itself up. And that's in the Bible, by the way, somewhere. Isaiah 5. Number 4, more trouble in the Middle East. Increased hate for U.S. supporting Israel. Had you not seen that this week? Islam is going to make a demand on the U.S., Britain, and push their Islamic religion and doctrines. That was on this morning. Did anybody happen to see where they took this man from Jordan and put him in a cage and set him on fire alive? How many did not see or hear about it? 4 or 5 people. Well, the other ones can verify it happened. And because of that, they were going to trade a woman that went in to try to blow something up, that they had her in prison for a few years. They were going to trade her, but then they went and burned this guy up, so they went and hang her and another one. And it's going to be worse. It's going to be an everyday occurrence. How many seen where they went into a barber shop and shot 5 people? Here in Columbus. You read about just about every day there's a drive-by shooting or a murder. So that's becoming a common thing. What do you think is going to happen when these people go ballistic and they start bombing people in crowds? You have not seen what's coming to America, but I promise you, as what I'm standing here, you will see it and you'll say, my God, I wish to God I would have got closer to God because I don't know what to do. And the only thing that you can do is have faith in God and know that God's going to bring you and watch over you and protect you through it. What did Chris say? This idiot pulled right in front of him. Intentionally. And beat him up. Now, I just mentioned 5 of the 11 that I said. Has every one of those started coming to pass? You agree? Okay? Now, do you believe that God told me to give those to you? Do you believe that's from God to you to warn you? Then what do you think this is? And it's a warning. Everything that you need to know about what's coming is right in this book. You don't need the news media to tell you. It's right here. But they're only verifying and confirming what the Word of God has said. In the last days, God said, I, Himself, will pour out of my Spirit upon all flesh. And His Spirit is being poured out all over the world. They're cutting people's heads off over there because they're Christians. And the Bible tells you that. It tells you in the last days it's going to be terrible. So what do we do? Do we just pull ourselves back in a shell? We go hide? We got to go on living, but we have to live with the intentions to know that God has a plan for His people. And He's going to pull us out of this darkness, and He's preparing a supper, and He's preparing us to go to the supper, and He's preparing us to go up in a rapture. And of those that have already died, they are already there waiting to be called up. That's what's happening. It goes on to say that food, utilities, and gasoline will skyrocket this year. High prices are going to force many people to rely on the government for help instead of trusting God. You don't understand, Brother Bob, I've got to feed my family. If you start listening to what God said, He said He would protect His own. He will make a way where there seems to be no way. How's He going to protect you? I don't know, but He said He would. How many has been sick in your body and God's healed you? Well, He did it, didn't He? How many people you know that have went through sickness after sickness after sickness after sickness and then died? You sit there and you say, I don't know how in the world they can stand any more pain. But they did. And when they died, we don't know why they died. You don't know what's in here. This is what speaks, but this comes from here.